Again, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفر الله إن الله غفور رحيم من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم وأما بعد قال الله في القرآن الكريم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. قال الله في القرآن الكريم ألف لام ميم ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين الذين يؤمنون بالغيب ويقيمون الصلاة ومما رزقناهم ينفقون. I ask a question or a series of questions. What is tahara? It's rhetorical, of course. What is tahara? Tahara is an indication as to the purity of one's body and maintaining the cleanliness of one's mind. What is salah? Salah is an indication as to the purity of one's time and the purposefulness of one's effort. What is zakat? Zakat is an indication as to the purity of one's wealth. Dearly beloved Muslims, I remind myself and I remind you that in tahara and purifying one's body and in purifying one's mind, there is success. Dear beloved Muslims, I remind myself and I remind you that there is success in being efficient with one's time and purposeful with one's efforts. Dear beloved Muslims, I remind myself and I remind you that there is success in recognizing the right of the poor in your wealth. The question on remains, why? Why is there success in purifying your body and your mind? Why? Why is there success in purifying your time and your purpose? Why is there success in finding the right of the poor in your work, in your wealth, excuse me? To be succinct, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala taught us, as He commands us in the Quran, Bismillah. We can stop right there. We can end the khutbah on that. That's enough. But that's what we're here to talk about. We have to open that up a little bit. We have to explain that a little bit. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala teaches us to say in the Fatiha, Bismillah. We all know Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim. But I want to talk about Bismillah. For us grammarians in the room, both English and in Arabic, we know what an apposition is. An apposition is when you take a noun and then you qualify it. Henry, the painter, is an excellent painter. So Henry is the subject. That he's a painter just qualifies Henry, and that he's an excellent painter further qualifies Henry. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Fatiha, he says, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, with the name of Allah. And he qualifies himself, the most gracious. He further qualifies himself, the most merciful. Maliki Yawmiddin, king or ruler of the day of worship. I'm not speaking about that. I want to go back to just the beginning. Back to the basics. Bismillah. Now, actually, Bismillah, if you break it up, it's just 3 words. Bi, the preposition in or with. Ism, the noun, which means name. And then what needs no introduction, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But what I want to focus our attention on for now is the word ism, the noun ism, or as Arab grammarians say, the masdar. Masdar means a place from which things go forth. There's nothing wrong with saying in the name of Allah. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just sharing something different with you. Inshallah, a different perspective, giving you a different way to look at something. The word ism, as we would say in English, is a gurra, or it could be seen as a gurra. Instead of the noun name, it could be seen as naming, right? So in fact, that would make us not talk about the name Allah, but it would make us focus on what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has named. It would shift our focus. Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, he said that knowledge of Allah is knowing that you can never know Him. So that you get busy on what it is He wants you to know. Right? So when we consider that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran with regard to naming, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, in Surah 2, Ayah 31, وَعَلَّمَ آدَمَ الْأَسْمَاءَ كُلَّهَا. He said that He taught Adam the names of everything. Now, Adam is the prototypical human being. So in fact, He taught us the name or the nature of everything. But what does this mean? What is its application? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the indicator. As we said, the basmala, or the first part of it, is separated into 3 words, the first being in or with. So those who are in or with the indicating of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, those are the successful. Those who operate in or with the indicating, the pointing, the designating, the naming of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, those are the successful. Now, when we go back to the basmala, the first part of it, there's actually a point of fact being made. There's 2 points to it. And again, I'm cutting out the apposition, the part where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is explaining more about Himself, because there's something else we're focusing on. We want to be knowing what we're supposed to be doing. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the beginning states a point of fact. He says, Bismillah, Alhamdulillah. With the naming, with the indicating, with the pointing of Allah, there is praise, or there is success. With the naming of Allah, there is praise, there is success. With the naming of Allah, there is praise and there is success. Now, Arab grammarians, they say about the beginning of the basmala, they say that it's an incomplete sentence. They say that traditionally sentences don't start with prepositions, they start with verbs. And so when we're reading the beginning of the Fatiha, we're looking for the verb, but it's not there. And the people who explain the Quran, the Mufassirun, they say the reason it's not there is because if you pick whatever progressive verb you want and you place it there, it's not going to be any less the truth. There are husbands in here because they have wives. And if you are being in accordance with what Allah has indicated about a husband, your marriage will be successful. There are wives in here who in turn have husbands. And if you are being in accord with what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has indicated about wives, then your marriage will be successful. Allah states this fact right here in the Fatiha. This is the opening of every relationship. Now, how do we understand that? We have a Talib class here on Sundays. And I was speaking to a brother. He's a new convert. He's just learning about Islam. And his profession of choice, he's an underwriter. Anybody know what an underwriter is? Underwriters try to make sure that she can get a loan. Okay? And so we were talking, and he was trying to understand what we're talking about right now today. And so I asked him, I said, well, what do you do as a professional? He said, well, I'm an underwriter. I said, well, what do underwriters do? He said, well, we try to make sure people get loans. I said, okay. So you know what it is to be successful in getting a loan, right? He was like, yeah. I say, so do the people appreciate when you help them get loans? He's like, well, yeah. I say, so you can understand the praise side of it. When you operate in accordance with the want of Allah, good things happen. I said, but what about those people who don't get loans? Like, well, what do you mean? And I was like, well, there's also praise in that too. He was like, how so? When someone comes to you who doesn't qualify with what you have indicated that they need to do to get a loan, don't you then show them the path to qualifying? Don't you show them how to get from their bad situation to a better situation? He's like, okay, I see your point. Why is that relevant today? What sense does that make to talk about that today? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shows us a fact in the Quran. He says, Bismillah, Alhamdulillah. With the indicating of Allah, there is praise, there is good, there is development. But what happens if in the now, you're not able to live up to that name? What happens if in the now, there's something going on in your life where you don't feel like you can do what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has indicated for you to do? Well, it's okay. Because just like the underwriter, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has commanded that we all say, Ihdina siratal mustaqim. Show us the way to get in accordance with what you have named, with what you have indicated, with what you have shown us that we need to be. You're a man. I don't care what Freud has to say about manhood. I don't care what Tony Robbins has to say about anything. What does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say in the Quran? Are you a son? Meaning you have parents? What does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say about the interrelationship between children and their parents? If you want to be successful in that relationship, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say that there is no way to success, there's no path, there's no deen except Islam. Do you want to be a better child? You pick what you want to be better at. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, وَمَا تُقَدِّمُوا لِأَنفُسِكُم مِّنْ خَيْرٍ تَجِدُهُ عِندَ اللَّهِ هُوَ خَيْرًا وَأَعْظَمَ أَجْرًا وَاسْتَغْفِرُوا اللَّهَ إِنَّ اللَّهَ غَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ. That which you send forward for yourselves, that which you desire for yourselves, if you put it in a context in accordance with what Allah wants, you will get back better and a greater reward. And Allah will forgive you because He's most forgiving, most merciful. So now, how do we put this into practice when we leave? When we walk out the door and we go to our walk-a-day lives, should we try to take on the big things? The beauty of Islam is that it has within it this principle called the Qibla. right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says with regard to this Qibla in the Quran, from wherever you are, turn your faces in obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. From wherever you are, whatever situation you're in. You know, we can't go to Australia and say that y'all need to pray northeast. We can't go to Russia and say that you need to adopt our Qibla. Everybody has a Qibla to which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has turned him or her. Everybody has situations, circumstances that they live in. What I'm reminding myself and you about today is that the indicator of how to get out of that situation, the indicator of how to get out of those circumstances, the indicator of how to move up in that situation, the indicator of how to move up in those circumstances is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Assalamu alaikum. تحيا كل بركات الصلوات الطيبات بالله. السلام عليك أيها النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام علينا وعلى عبده الصالحين. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم. Again, we said in the beginning, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, Alif Lam Mim. ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Alif Lam Mim, that is the book, and it is guidance, sure without doubt. That is a demonstrative pronoun. It demarcates something that's far off, right? The Arabs, with their pronouns, they have two types. One that denotes things that's near, hadha, and one that denotes things that's far. That. Then we have the word kitab. Kitab, roughly translated, book. But it's not book in the simple meaning. Kitab comes from the word kataba, which means to write. But not just the word kataba, kataba, which means to write with someone in mind, means to correspond with someone. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is pointing towards something, and he's saying that is the correspondence in which there is no doubt. So I ask you, what is he pointing towards? Have we thought about it? Being that it's the second surah of the Quran, in my opinion, which is low, he's pointing to the Fatiha. That beginning relationship. Bismillah. Alhamdulillah. That is the relationship in which there is no doubt. For who? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala qualifies that for us. For the muttaqun. But now who are the muttaqun? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala further qualifies that for us. He leaves nothing to chance. وَالَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْغَيْبِ. There are those who believe in the unseen. I want to come back to that. I think that's a very important one that skipped over. وَالَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْغَيْبِ وَيُقِيمُونَ الصَّلَاةَ. And those who make salah, those who establish salah, right? If you can't make it yet, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is even merciful in how he said, those who establish salah. When we talk about you may be in a situation where you're just not ready yet. Like the brother I talked about who just embraced Islam. He can't pray right now. He was thinking of something. He can't pray because he doesn't know how to pray. And so, what does he need to seek out first? He needs to seek out the indications as to why he should be praying. Then he needs to seek out the indications as to how to fulfill the prayer. yunfikun. And those who spend of that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you. We're Muslims. Zakat comes to mind. Alhamdulillah, we just talked about that. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hasn't particularized zakat right here. He doesn't just say zakat. Whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you, there's an expectation in order to be part of the muttaqun that you give from that. Has Allah given you a sense of peace in your heart? Do you see someone who doesn't have that? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made you responsible for trying to help them. Okay, you don't know how. Learn how. But now going back to the first one. Those who believe in the unseen. Generally when we take an Aqidah class and we start studying Aqidah, we start off, with our Aqidah talking Allah, His angels, His books, His messengers, we go through that. But you know what we always forget, which is actually part of the unseen too? We forget ourselves. We know ourselves as African Americans. We know ourselves as Pakistani Americans. We know ourselves as Arab Americans or Arab, however you want to style it. We know ourselves as men. We know ourselves as women. We know ourselves as adults, as children. We have so many designators, so many indicators for the outside aspect of us that some of us have forgotten that there is an inside aspect to us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran that He will show you signs in the heavens and where else? In yourselves. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, He says that He will not change the condition of a people until they change the condition of themselves. The operative word, the Arabic word that He uses over and over again in that one is the word nafs. Allah asks us to contemplate of the Quran. What have we contemplated about this word nafs? I'm going to talk about this and then we'll close. What have we thought about this word nafs? I was talking to a learned person the other day, and I asked him from their perspective, hey, when you hear the word nafs, where do you hear it? So, what other than that? Anything else come to you? Soul. Inside part. That's almost the extent of all of our knowledge about ourselves. We talked about earlier that some of us are wives. Some of us are husbands. Some of us are sons. Some of us are daughters. Some of us are fathers. Some of us are mothers. If you look up the Arabic word nafs, Hans Weir will tell you among its definitions that one of the words that you can use for the word nafs is blood. Think about that. Blood. For us doctors, or you doctors, I should say, you have in blood, you have white blood cells, red blood cells, plasma, platelets. You have a complex of many different things. All of those things culminate, they work together to give life to the body. You breathe, oxygen goes in your lungs, your blood is oxygenated, and then it goes and spreads that nutrients throughout your body. So why does the word nafs, why can it also be translated as blood? Well, think about the relationships that we have. To someone you're a son, to someone you're a daughter, to someone you're a mother, to someone you're a father, to someone you're a friend, to someone you're a co-worker, to someone you are something. Everybody has some type of relational aspect to them. This is a complex of who you are. When you're being a father, what type of father are you being? Because whatever type of oxygen or type of feedback you get from that relationship is going to have an impact on your heart. Whenever you're being a mother, what type of mother are you being? If you're in accordance or out of accordance with the law, subhanAllah, that relational aspect, whatever you do, it's going to have an impact on your heart. Just as breathing has an impact on your blood, however you act in our relationships is going to have a real-time impact on our heart. Why is that important? Why is that important? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He talked about taqwa in the Quran, in the beginning of the Quran, when He explained taqwa, He talked about three things. He said, those who believe in the unseen, those who establish prayer, and those who spend from what we have provided. Which did He put first? I tell you, I guarantee you, based on what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, I don't care what you do, I don't care where you do it. If you do it in accordance with the will of Allah, internally to externally, you're going to be successful. That's a guarantee. That's what I'm trying to remind us about. When we're in this world and everybody seeks to identify us from the outside, you know, we're in a secular society, so everybody wants to name you, everybody wants to tell you who you are. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also wants you to remember who you are. Or, as some people say, whose you are. He wants you to remember that He's not just watching on Friday after the brother recites the adhan, up until the time we make salat and then disperse, and then He's not watching anymore. He's watching us at all times. So what can we do when we leave here to be better? We can simply realize that Allah is watching. Waqim as-salah.